Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick Sahami. Joining you here, we have a couple of big action-packed matches for the 2017 OCAA Championships. As mentioned, I'm going to be Nick Sahami taking you through the play-by-play, being joined here with Lucas. How you doing today, Lucas?
Not too bad. We got a good one in store today between the Fanshaw Falcons and the Durham Lords. Going to be a good one. Fanshaw, one of the favorites of this tournament. We're in for a good one.
So yeah, we're going to do a couple of quick player profiles here before we get into everything. Number 6, James Jackson. As you can see there, he's going to be a big boy here for the Falcons, and he's actually one of the biggest reasons these Falcons are #1 on the year. And on the flip side, John Pham as well, you'll see there, number 6. He is the facilitator for these Durham Lords. 599 assists on the year, second in the OCAA conference. And what that means for this Durham Lords team, if John Pham can get them the ball, he's going to find some great success here for those Lords. As you can see, he's also played 60 of 68 sets on the year. He does not come off very often. And yesterday, an incredible 48 assists versus the Redeemer Royals, and a big reason why you're seeing the Durham Lords here matching up against these Fanshaw Falcons in this big semifinal match. The winner here going to find themselves in the gold medal match tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. And thank you very much, though, everyone, for joining us here on M-Link. We're at the David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center, D-BARC for short, and we're going to be bringing you the matchup starting here with John Pham getting this serve in for the Lords. And as we pick it up, a quick one there for Lethbridge. Are they going to get it back over? And somehow they do there with play from Harper and Dubé up close. But right away, here comes second-team All-Star David O'Coin with a massive kill there. And we're going to get an exciting crowd here, I think. Quite a few Fanshaw Falcons fans here.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? The hometown or the visiting team, they're coming to visit their home school, trying to cheer them on. One of the best teams in the country, if not the. We will be soon to find that out. They're just excited to watch. They're already up 2-0, full of energy. Fanshaw in the all-black, Durham in the green and white. We are in store for one of the better games of the tournament, that's for sure. Look for Fanshaw to continue this hot streak. Durham knows that they need to weather the storm if they want to keep it close.
Well, we see the serve up here come from O'Coin, and with that, we're going to see it go right over now to the Lords as they're going to start their service game here.
Kind of laughed that one off there. He realized it was a mistake. Good teammates to support him early on. Mistakes are a part of the game.
But we're going to get some exciting back and forth play here. We're not going to have as much time for the commentary just because it's going to be that action-packed as you see back and forth here already. And there's Harper putting it down, and a big one there actually, number 2, Brett Polfus with a massive kill there, and just like that, these Lords tie it up early on 2-2 here.
Well, something like that is just an energy-boosting play for their team. As you saw all the teammates jumping around, literally spiked it off the chest of the Fanshaw player. Got to be ready for those.
Massive kill coming here, but a good block up front there, and a big point with number 11, Watson, coming together there with number 2, Polfus, creating quite the formidable wall there up front, and surprisingly stopping big number 6, James Jackson. But Dubé getting that serve here. It's going to be dug out on the back end. Here comes high fly Nate Van Camp, and another unforced error there as they're seeming to try and put in a little too much power there here. These Falcons, honestly, they can just simply play their game by getting it in the court, and they have enough power as it is. But to the Lords' advantage here now, we see some quick play. But there you have it right up front. A quick one there for Sebastian Lethbridge, setting it up for number 14, Evan Ravin, the second-year player out of Cambridge. Getting this service game back here now for number 7, Lethbridge. Lethbridge, a very similar player to Pham, where he is the facilitator, the setter for his Fanshaw Falcons. But there's Pham getting it to Harper, looking for the open area. But now back on the other side, we're going to see Nate Van Camp up there. And goodness gracious, the big wall of Watson and Harper. Trying again. This time he's going to get that one just down. And they're going to say, though, it was in. But with the deflection off the moorings up top there, going to be a big point over to the Durham Lords here. Now with a quick 5-3 lead here early on, and as you touched upon, Lucas, some exciting play back and forth.
Oh, absolutely, and the referees are going to have to be on top of their game. Is right after that, a questionable call of the ball being in the line. Teams all over the referees. This is going to be a very intense game as we start to get late here into the tournament.
Gundrum dug that out beautifully on the Harper serve, and now Pham digging out on the other side, and here comes Watson. But a good dig again from Gundrum, but we're going to see a violation there on the follow-through for Watson. And now it's back here over to the Fanshaw Falcons, down 5-4 here early on. And we're going to see big James Jackson setting up for serve.
This being our third game of the day, and I can already tell you that it feels like this is by far the most intense and played with the most passion. Fanshaw are really into it, as the play is right in front of me and Nick, and we are seeing a lot of emotion pouring out of these kids early on in this one. It is going to be an absolutely amazing game, and it already feels like it.
Watson getting it over as Lethbridge going to find that. Gundram going to be setting up Van Camp here. A little too high there for Van Camp, but on the other side now a set there. Nice one, actually, but a good return on Lethbridge on the other side. Now here's Foreman, but an incredible dig there from John Famine. Here's Watson now trying, and this one's going to go just out of bounds there. A deflection off the linesman, but another big point here for the Falcons as they tie this one up 5-5. But number 14 there, Braden Rogers, definitely a player to watch there with the libero jersey on the side for the Lords. Some good digs here early on, but a massive serve from Jackson, a good part of his game. And this time we're going to see a huge kill there from Harrison Wood up front, taking that one. And Harrison Wood can jump out of this gym, Lucas.
Oh, absolutely. You're seeing a lot of athleticism on display from these two teams, two of the higher-ranked teams in the country, and you don't do that by not being a team of fully athletic players, and it looks like both of these teams came really ready to play in this one. As in the first game, we saw a lot of mental errors. We haven't seen one yet so far in this one.
But now we're going to see Watson on the other side with a massive kill there as Guntram tried to get the foot on it. And these Durham Lords here coming out strong, and I think they're definitely understanding this momentum is a big one here if they can snag it early on in this first set.
Absolutely. I think they realize that they got to get the momentum on their side, and I think they also understand what you were talking about. They understand who they're playing. They understand that Fanshaw is one of the better teams in the country and that they need to be on top of the game each and every single play. Plays like that just happened with the unfortunate serve out of bounds cannot happen if they expect to have overall success in this game against such a tough opponent, that being the Fanshawe Falcons.
But now we're going to see number 14, Evan Rabin, setting it up. Again, the second-year player from Cambridge. Looking to tie it up again here early on with a nice and easy serve over as it's dug out on the back line. But a big power kill there again. Harrison Wood showcasing why just exactly he's one of the top two scorers on this Lords team.
Durham's got to keep the momentum up that they have been getting so far. They've just been playing great offensive ball, and they're playing great defensively, really making it tough for Fanshawe to play defense as they've been sprawling out all over the floor trying to make these plays.
Foreman to Lethbridge, back to Foreman, and he's going to put that one down with the deflection off Bam. It's going to be a big point back now here for the Falcons. And we have an exciting match here, and thank you for joining us at the David Graylian Athletic Recreation Center, these 2017 OCAA Championships presented by Bel Air Direct. Excitement to say the least here with the Nate Van Camp serve getting over, but surprisingly out of bounds there by quite a few feet. And just like that though, any momentum the Falcons were hoping to build, now back over to the Lords here. Let's see if they can continue and build upon this early 9-7 lead here as we see Harrison Wood get this serve over.
Nerves in a big game like this could definitely be a factor, so you may see some things like that. We're going to get a hand over the net penalty.
Yep, they're going to call that one a lift actually, so a big thing there that David Accorn's going to have to watch for as Lethbridge going to check with the referee here. They felt that maybe potentially it was a clean play, but unfortunate for the Falcons will be a fortunate play here for Harrison Wood, and the Falcons not prepared there as they were still talking to the ref. And with that, we're going to see another point here for the Durham Lords, and that is not what you want to see from the Falcons team. And here's Lethbridge coming over as well too to explain that he was still talking to her even when the referee blew the whistle there for service game to be allowed in play. And Harrison Wood now finding some good success here with the Lords up 11-7, but a massive dig there, and we're going to see another point there here. I think we're going to see another lift actually there. These referees watching these Falcons closely early on as we get a surprising 12-7 lead here. These Durham Lords playing like the 17-2 team they are. But as we mentioned, Durham Lords ranked 9 nationally compared to this Fanshawe Falcons team ranked number 1 nationally, showing that, hey, maybe those rankings are a little bit off kilter here as they have come out hot in this first set.
Well, you know what? Rankings necessarily don't mean anything once the game gets going. It's all about the effort you put onto the court. You know that in sports, it really doesn't matter until the final whistle, the final buzzer, whatever you want to call it. You have to give your 100% effort throughout the entire night. Durham realizes that it's going to be a tough task, and Fanshawe can definitely not overlook this Durham Lords team as they've come out and proven that they can compete and, in reality, take a lead on them as they're up now 12-7 on them. Maybe a little bit of a surprise to Fanshawe. So this timeout was probably taken to calm down his players, as they did suffer a point because the one player was still talking to the referee about a certain call. So they just got to get their feet settled into this game, and the first set always tends to be the sloppiest, so look for both teams to maybe clean it up a little bit here going forward, as we now are almost halfway through the first set.
But we definitely have a couple of hot teams here, with the Durham Lords coming in with a 5-game winning streak, matching up against the 13-game winning streak from the Falcons. But we get Lethbridge looking for Van Camp, but a nice dig there on the backline by Polfus, as he's going to find Dubé, and Dubé with a little too much power. And right there, you know, Andrew Dubé would like that one back after managing a big 18 points in yesterday's matchup. The win against a close one with the Humber Hawks. But as we mentioned now, this game back and forth here. Fanshaw looking to dig into this lead with the Foreman serve, but Harper got something to say, but a good dig from Van Camp to Lethbridge. And there's Jackson, and Jackson gonna get that one in as he starts to get going here with his second point now early on.
They just painted that right before it almost went over the line to be a point for Durham, and that just shows how great Fanshaw's hitters are, as they can just pinpoint those balls and get them in the playable areas that they'd like them to be.
Yeah, Fanshawe definitely maybe suffering a bit from a weaker opponent in the first matchup against the George Brown Huskies, but they're still coming back a little bit here. But that last play going to be point over to the Durham Lords here now, with John Pham setting up for serve. And as mentioned, the Durham Lords had a bit of a tougher matchup themselves yesterday, as they were in tough against the Redeemer Royals in a 5-setter, but we're going to see Lethbridge setting up James Jackson, and there you have Jackson putting that one down again.
Fanshawe starting to flex their muscle a little bit here on Durham, showing them why they are the #1 ranked team. Durham's got to start to combat this now, as Fanshaw's creeping back up on them a little bit here.
Yeah, height could definitely be a factor here today for these Falcons, as they are a very tall team, specifically 6'8" James Jackson. But a good dig there from Van Camp, and here's Jackson again. And this time, though, we're going to see it go just out of bounds. No deflection there. And here we have the Durham Lords still maintaining a bit of their momentum here, up 14-10.
Nick, I can't believe how much of emotion this game's being played with. You're seeing every single good little play is, they're acting like they just won the tournament. I love it, showing how much these players really care and what this means to each team. And there's another one. Look at Durham get together off a great defensive play there.
Yeah, you know, Evan Ravin, number 14 for the Falcons, wanted that one back. A beautiful set there from Lethbridge, but not going to matter here, as we get Dubé setting up for serve, up 15-10 now, these Lords. But there's Lethbridge going to be looking for Jackson, but we're going to see the violation on the volley there from Lethbridge. A double hit actually on that volley. Not something you see too often from Lethbridge, who's very consistent with those set plays. But we have definitely seen some nerves here, I think, early on from the Falcons. Down 6 here and in tough against these Lords. But Dubé with a massive return there, and somehow Polfus going to find it, as Braden just going to be forced to put one over Rogers, but now we get Lethbridge, and a massive block up front. Ravin versus Watson. Watson comes out on top there. And another timeout here for the Falcons head coach, Patrick Johnston. And you know, if you're the OCAA West Division Coach of the Year, George Matsuzaki, who's the 6th-year coach, you're very ecstatic and happy with your Lord's start here, up 17-10 against the #1 Falcons.
Absolutely, and you know that he had them prepped and ready to go for this game, as you've seen the emotion that they've been displaying, and we've been talking about coming in prepared and playing the first set and getting that one under your belt, as we've seen the winners of the first set in all of our games today have went on to eventually win the overall match. So you know how important it is to get started, and especially when you're getting into these intense games near the end of the tournament. Every set, every play, every ball matters, and this game is starting to really show it.
Yeah, we definitely are going to have to see James Jackson step up a little bit more here. Ranked 9th for for total points in the province, with 234 on the year. So you know he's definitely one of those big players, and when he goes, this team goes. But no slouch on the other side. Nate Van Camp, the Robin to Jackson's Batman usually, and when he gets going, this could be scary for the Lords. But I think they're looking at this Falcon team's coming out of this timeout with hungry eyes, as they're seeing a team reeling on the ropes here, a team that only dropped 10 sets all year.
Yeah, that's an absolutely outstanding stat there, Nick, in itself, to show the consistency that this Fanshawe team brings. So you definitely know the killer instincts are out now.
And there you have another big block up front. Polfus and Harper coming together there. And with the deflection coming back off Jackson on his attempted kill, we're going to see now the 8-point lead here for the Durham Lords on these Falcons as Nate Van Camp going to come off, and we're going to see Sam Otten, number 9, come on here for the Falcons.
It'll be interesting to see how Fanshaw responds to this, because as you touched upon, only 10 lost sets, so it means they probably haven't really been trailing all too much this year, so in unfamiliar territory here.
But a good return on the other side as Harper's just going to put that over. There's Gundrum getting it to Lethbridge. Lethbridge going to find Jackson, and that's what we're going to have to see from the Falcons side to get them going here. Jackson with a big one and a smile there as well. Now 18-11 for these Lords.
Jackson's the one, obviously, that they're trying to get the ball over to, and they keep attacking the same side of the floor with him. Maybe look for him like he is right now, just be more onto the right side, if not work the middle a little bit more, as Fanshaw definitely doesn't want to become one-dimensional.
But Dubé getting that one over here as we're going to see Lethbridge now find Otter, but a good return there from Pham. An unfortunate attempt there from Harper. Going to see that one go out of bounds, and the second team All-Star Harper there, not what he wanted on that one. But now we're going to see it back over here to number 7, Lethbridge, setting up for serve. And the Falcons digging in a little bit here, and this 8-point lead is now only 6. But a good dig out there from Rogers, and here comes Watson, and Watson getting us in the action over here with a massive kill attempt. The deflection off Sam Otten and Lethbridge there, going to result in a big point here for these Durham Lords, and just like that, when you think the Falcons are going to build some momentum, these Lords kibosh it, and now up 7 still here, 19-12.
And Nick, we've been talking about all day, if everybody's joined their broadcast, about first and 20 points and how crucial that is. Durham now just 1 point away from that ever big feat. And they now are there. They're just playing some great defense, and they definitely know that the offense is going to be run through him, and they're just taking away the front of the net like this.
Yeah, James Jackson actually gave a little smile of respect to number 11, Andrew Watson there, almost as if he understood. Watson, you're getting the better of me right now, but we still got lots of volleyball to play here.
Well, I don't know if it was so much friendly, because I believe the referee is talking now to both teams about the over celebrations and the grilling of the opponents and everything, trying to keep tempers at a minimum in such a highly intense part of the game.
Well, thanks for calling me out, I guess, there, Lucas.
I'm sorry.
As we're going to get the play picked up here a little bit.
He said this before they had the little meeting with the referees.
But now Harper going to be getting the serve over here. And these Fanshawe Falcons reeling here, down 22-12. But here's Pham going to be looking to set it up. Wood not getting the best one there, but here's Jackson on the other side, finally getting it through the players there. But we're still going to see good defensive play now on both sides, but we're going to see, I believe, the violation. Another one there on the Falcons. Jackson looking a little perplexed, but we now see a 9-point lead here in this first set for the Durham Lords.
I think we might have another timeout coming here, and nope, calls it off.
But we're going to see Michael Harper now getting this serve in here with a little bit of success and momentum now. But here's the Lords going to try and dig that out, but you finally see a big play on the other side there. Number 9, Sam Otten. And now what we're going to see is James Jackson set up for serve here, and they really need Jackson to start coming through here. Down tough, 21-13 to these Lords, Lucas. I'm a little stunned here myself.
I'm a little stunned, not the fact that Durham's winning, just the fact that the score is so sizable at the moment, but we all know that can change very, very quickly. Unfortunately, though, another bad play for Fanshaw there. Durham is just coming out and playing with all the emotion, and they really are just executing their game plan that they've had set in stone. And now you're seeing some substitutions come in.
Yep, Eric Jansen's going to come on, and we're going to see John Pham step off for a little bit. As mentioned, Pham going to probably be off only for a couple of plays here, as he does play predominantly most of his team's points and sets, as we touched upon earlier, 60 of 68 on the year. But here's Polfus with a little bit of an unorthodox serve, which works for him though. But Lethbridge to Jackson, and that's again the call we're going to have to see here if you're a Falcons fan to get back into this first set, because it's coming down to crunch time here. 22-14 as Ravin setting up for serve here on the Falcons side.
Yeah, they definitely got to clean it up a little bit here on the defensive side of the ball. You don't want to let Fanshaw have too much room and get back involved into this one.
Fourth-year head coach Patrick Johnston definitely trying to get his team a little amped up, and as you can see, they're looking a little morose here to start this game, but perhaps maybe understanding that his team just has to get back to the basics and play the way they have all year, where we're seeing a quick little stoppage of play here again. It looks like some miscommunication on the initial substitution as George Matsuzaki was confirming things with the ref there. But now on the other side, we're going to get Ravin finally get this one in. And then here comes a big setup for Jansen. And does Jansen sneak it in? No, just out of bounds there as he took the setup from number 7, Riley McAdams. McAdams, a second-year player out of Coburg, doesn't find too much court time. But, of course, with John Pham sitting off here for a little bit, they definitely need to make sure they have a good setter out there. But on that last one, a big point, though, for these Falcons. Still trying to dig into this lead here now, 22-15. The serve over, but here comes a big one from Harrison Wood. Goodness gracious, he took that pass from he took that pass from McAdams and put it down emphatically. 23-15, just a couple of points away from stunning these Falcons.
Absolutely, and Nick, I don't know if you noticed the set on that, but I like the way McAdams did that and how he didn't give it too much air. He kind of just lofted it up a little bit just so his hand could come right into it, not giving Fanshaw much time to adjust on the defensive side of the ball, and it worked out perfectly.
But we're going to see the Falcons come back now. Andre Foreman going to take that and get a little lucky there. I think the Durham Lords are hoping for a bit of a lift on that. Not going to get it, though. And now we're going to see it back on the other side here, with still Sam Otten setting up for serve here on the Falcons side. Otten gets it over, a nice jump serve there, but dug out on the back line there by number 13, Langley. But here comes Dubé, and Dubé going to get a big point there, as we're now going to have a chance for the Durham Lords here to take this first set up 24-16. And we're going to see 14 Rogers step off and Harper come back on. A common move you will see, interchanging the libero, which is allowed every play, and that's one of the positive points of having the libero on the court. The defensive specialist as Gundrum gets it to Lethbridge. Here comes Otten, and Otten, a big one there, but somehow these Durham Lords dig that out, and they're going to get a big point here, stunning these Fanshawe Falcons in this first set, 25-16. Goodness gracious, Lucas. Just the 11th set all year that these Fanshawe Falcons have dropped. These Durham Lords now showcasing exactly what they need to do to continue taking this team down, something that I think most of our viewers are going to be a little surprised about, but we do have some highlights coming here from that action-packed first set. A little surprising here myself again, Lucas, 25-16.
Oh, absolutely, and you can see here, just look at the amount of good plays that Durham was able to make. Look at the celebrations after how engaged this game was overall. So both teams are definitely going to try and keep going the way that they have been. Fanshawe didn't necessarily play the worst half of, or worst set of their life, but it was a great first half overall. Set.
So we're going to be throwing it over to Ryla here after this highlight pack as well. But you can see, though, this is exactly why the Durham Lords right here. Dubé took that first set, 18 points for Dubé last one, and now tonight coming out strong. But here's Ryla. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Sorry, guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties there. So what we're going to do essentially here, though, Lucas Mancini, is what is your big point coming into this second set that these Durham Lords can continue to surprise these Fanshawe Falcons with?
I think they just got to overall continue to play the defense that they have been so far. They've been in position to make all these amazing plays and stay in position to do so. You're seeing once they do get the ball up, their teammates are able to make plays on it, and they're putting it into positions that they are able to do.
Well, I'm going to highlight John Pham again. We mentioned it at the start of the game here, but the facilitator and big setter for the Lords with 600 assists on the year, over 86% of his team's assists, second in the OCAA for total assists, and assists per set at almost 10. And a big reason why these Durham Lords took that first set, surprising these Fanshawe Falcons at the D-Bark Gym here. And I think surprising the audience a little bit as well, too. But as you touched upon early on, Lucas, when it comes down to championship play, anything can happen.
Anything can happen and anything will happen. We've seen that today. We saw that yesterday, and I bet you we'll see it tomorrow. Anything can happen when you get two teams that really want it. You put a championship in front of them with everything you've worked for all year right in front of you within grasp. You just have to go out and work for it. The second half will have the same intensity that the first one had, and look for it to be no different at all. They just got to keep playing to the strengths that they had and continue to improve on the things that didn't go the way they necessarily wanted it to. We are in for a good second set.
Well, I know most fans and viewers, if you told them that we could potentially be seeing a Durham Lords matchup in the gold medal, I think they would have been a little bit surprised and maybe chuckled in your face.
possibly, yeah, you know what? I don't know if anybody would be surprised, because once you put all these two teams into the tournament, when you put these teams in the tournament, anyone can take it. But to your point, Nick, I do believe that most fans, including myself, maybe had a little bit of doubt in us that the Fanshawe Falcons would necessarily be in the finals. But as we've also talked about, anything can happen.
Well, the Falcons want to come away with a gold, not a bronze, and they're going to have to play better. And just like that, that's what they're going to have to do here in this second set. And a big play there, and I think we're going to have to see number 9, Sam Otten, step up here as Nate Van Camp, number 8, not finding too much success early on, and Coach Johnson going with Sam Otten here again, maybe a gut move here, but there's Fam, a nice dig as he's going to force Polfish just to get that over, but Gundrum digging it to Lethbridge, and here comes Otten, forcing Fam to get right down there for that one. But here comes Dubé running into a big wall there of Raven and Jackson. A couple of quick points here early on for the Falcons, and this is the start they were hoping for in this first set.
Yeah, something that we were talking about. We thought we would see from them dominating here a little bit. Fanshaw's just got to keep playing to what they're doing right now and try and see if they can capture a little bit of momentum that they weren't able to find in the first set.
Yeah, these Falcons are the defending OCAA gold medalists, but not looking necessarily like it here early on. But here comes Foreman to Jackson, but a big block up front from Harper and Dubé, and Jackson just going to put that one over here. But here comes Fam to Dubé, and that's going to be a nice dig out there from Foreman. But we're going to see a violation there on Jackson on the volley. And with that, now the Durham Lords going to find their first points here in this second set. And now we get Dubé hitting the serve over here. And we're going to see another violation here actually on the Lords, and it's going to be a point over to the Falcons. The Lords still playing like the point was on there. Dubé kind of exasperated on that one, but the Falcons here jumping out to an early 3-1 lead as we're going to see Jackson get set up for serve.
Well, you're seeing that the players not necessarily agreeing with the calls, but the coaches making sure their players stay in line. We saw in our previous game, a couple of the coaches get carded, and you don't want to get on the referee's bad side at all in a championship type style of game.
And there we're going to see an unfortunate play there for Jackson, and a fortunate play though for the Durham Lords, as we're now going to get Harper setting up for serve.
We haven't seen too many mental errors from either team so far, but that's what happens when you get to the later half of these big game tournaments.
And there you have Foreman trying to put that one down, but Harrison Wood going to come through for the Durham Lords there, and we're going to see Harper now set up for serve again. These Falcons losing that momentum instantly here now in this second set, and potentially shifting it back over here to the Durham Lords, with Harper going to get this serve over here. And just like that, Harper does, but a good dig from Gundrum off the play off the net. And there you have big Sam Otten. As I mentioned, going to have to be the X factor here, it seems. Usually that's Nate Van Camp's job, but Otten there with a big one as these Falcons now take serve back here. We're going to see Evan Raven set it up.
I would not be too surprised to see a back and forth type style of set here, as we saw a little bit of a blowout in the first one. We kind of expected an overall back and forth type style of game, and it looks like we're going to be getting it here in the second half as Fanshaw gets set to set it.
Yes, Harrison Wood definitely showcasing why he's a first team All-Star, and Brett Polfis right there going to not get the deflection though. And it's going to be another point here for the Falcons, who find an early 2-point lead, 5-3, with Raven setting up for serve again. You know, Polfis really wanted that one to land in. But these Durham Lords still got to be feeling really good here, Lucas, as we're going to get Raven get this serve in.
Absolutely. Getting that first set was absolutely everything to them. Playing with a lot more confidence than they thought they might have to start.
John Pham, that's why you're second in the OCAA in assists, putting that one in the perfect spot for Harrison Wood. He had about a 45-degree angle on that one, straight down into the Fanshawe court.
That's what I was going to touch on. He put it in a great position for his teammate to put it right on the ground and make it a perfect spike, and just for that, Durham gets the points.
And that's why Harrison Wood is a first-team All-Star, as Polfis gets the serve over. Lethbridge saving it. We're going to be part of the action here. A good save from Foreman, but going to go out of bounds. And another point here for the Durham Lords as they tie it up here, 5-5, with Polfis setting up for serve again. We're going to get the referees checking to make sure the table is still stable after we got Andre Foreman running into it there. And now on the other side, we're going to see again Polfis setting up for serve. Polfis, the team leader in points, gets that one over here, and a service ace that he wasn't expecting there. Sam Otten giving a point right back there after having a big kill earlier. That's not what you want to see there if you're the Fanshawe Falcons. But on the other side, these Durham Lords now with the 6-5 lead.
That's not what we're used to seeing from Fanshaw, who normally plays, for the most part, mistake-free volleyball, and getting into the second set now and that putting them down. And this is a little bit of an uncharacteristic game overall.
But here comes Watson, and Watson running into a big wall. Somehow they did get that back over there, Harrison Wood, but not going to land in bounds there as it went into the stands. And now the Falcons here, some back and forth play, going to set up for serve as we get Otten on the Falcon side on the back line.
Once again, the referees are coming into question. Big, highly intense games here. Every call is going to be contested, just as expected.
Yeah, definitely you have quite the all-stars here on the court, especially on the Fanshawe side with Lethbridge and, of course, James Jackson, first-team all-stars. And then you also have Gundrum on the other side as well, too, and Aquinas second team. But there's Harrison Wood saying, hey, I'm a first-team all-star, and exactly why, with another big kill there as well.
He uses his size and his power to just overpower the Fanshawe defenders and just spike the ball right at them and create points for his team. And he's going to be the creator of offense for most of the rest of the tournament for Durham if they're going to have success.
There's Watson as he gets it over here. Going to be looking for a very bad set there from Lethbridge. A little surprising, actually, as we mentioned. Lethbridge usually very consistent for the Fanshawe Falcons, and Lethbridge on the year with 268 assists. The only other Falcon with assists on their team really is number 3, Jack Daly. We have not seen yet, but we might just see him here, especially if Patrick Johnson wants to get a little bit better sets here for his outside hitter. But here's Lethbridge, maybe listening in a little bit there, as a good one from Foreman, but Pham returning it. And just like that, Harrison Wood with his third straight big kill there on the Durham Lords side, putting that one off the head of Foreman. And now we see these Durham Lords here stretch this lead 9-6. And goodness gracious, again, when you're ranked number 9, you're looking like the number 1 ranked team here against these Falcons. I think we're going to have a bit of a crazy match here, Lucas, to say the least. And just on cue there, another big ace as well for the Durham Lords. And Watson with that service ace, forcing the timeout here from Coach Johnson on the Falcons. These Lords are up 10-6 here early on in this second set now, really showcasing and showing that that first set wasn't a fluke here, Lucas.
No, it wasn't, and they showed that they came out and they're ready to play, and Fanshawe showing a little bit of signs of that they are human and are breakable, and the fact that they're starting to show mental errors and turning the ball over into points for Durham that they could totally make plays off of. They're just playing an uncharacteristic style of ball right now, and it shows as they're down 10-6.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give a little shout out to some of the live commentators there on our M-League feed. We actually see some surprising comments as well, too, and we're not the only ones here, Lucas, who are a little bit surprised that these Durham Lords have been able to maintain this play in the second set. As we touched upon, perhaps maybe the Fanshawe Falcons were a little bit surprised, a little caught off guard in that first set, maybe hoping to come out a little stronger in the second set, but not happening.
Absolutely, it caught us off guard, and it caught the wonderful viewers of our stream right now off guard, and it's just not like Fanshawe to be playing this style of ball, but we got to credit Durham. It's not just Fanshawe playing a bad game. Durham is coming out and executing their game plan to perfection and making it hard for Fanshawe to be the Fanshawe Falcons that we all know them to be. So let's see if we can turn it around, as the timeout was called by the Fanshawe coach, so we will see if he had some words of encouragement or what he drew up to try and fix this for the Fanshawe team.
Well, these 17-2 Lords are no slouches, as you mentioned, but somehow Watson digging that out, and this team is pumped up here. We're going to get a massive point there. Somehow Watson dug that out, getting Pham to the Harrison Wood connection. As per usual, now 11-6 here, with the Durham Lords almost doubling up these Falcons.
You're starting to see some real frustration being shown on the Fanshawe players' faces. They're starting to look around at each other. Oh, there's a little mental mistake from Durham, and that's something you do not want to see happen, because that will just bring Fanshawe right back in the game. Although you've been leading and pretty much the dominator so far this game, if you give Fanshawe any room to sneak back in, you can bet they're going to be.
Well, especially when you have Nate Van Camp and James Jackson. But here comes Andrew Dubé, again the second semester starter here, only getting in 9 matches so far, but showcasing why he is a starter for this team. But a whiff, a swing and a miss there on that one. And Pham usually putting it where Harrison Wood needs. And I think Wood actually talking to Pham there, putting that one on himself, as Foreman going to set it up on the end line here for Fanshawe.
It's a good teammate when he goes around and accepts it. So that's what makes everybody accountable, makes for a better team.
But there's Rogers now, and there comes Brett Polfus, but a good dig on the back line by Otten. We're going to see Lethbridge find Jackson, and Jackson almost put that through the right leg of Brett Polfus there.
Fanshaw starting to sneak back a little bit as the score is now 11-9 for the Durham Lords. We talked about not giving Fanshaw any room to breathe, and we're showing why points come quick for them.
Yeah, Brett Polfus, definitely a big key cog here in the machine for these Lords, but a good dig out there as we're going to get Dubé. Dubé with the nifty play, but somehow Gundrum digs that out. But back on the other side, just when you thought maybe Jackson was going to throw it down there for the Falcons, the Durham Lords come right back with a big block.
That was an amazing sequence we saw there. A great defensive effort turned to an amazing offensive effort. And we're being treated to a great volleyball game right now by two very determined teams. And plays like that are the reason why we're all tuned in to such a great game.
So Harper on now as we're going to see the libero step off there on the Durham Lords side. But now we see Fan looking to set up Dubé as we see some good rallying back and forth here. But this time we're going to get David Acoyne, a quiet player here so far, the second team All-Star. Maybe he can get it going there as he put that one through Harrison Wood. And we'll see Rogers jump back on. The libero, as we touched upon before, has the opportunity to basically switch between each plays. But now we see John Pham looking to set up Dubé again, and a massive block up front, this time with Lethbridge and Ravin getting involved. They're going to try the other side, and they're going to find success there with Brett Polfus able to get that off the deflection of the Fanshawe player. Now 13-10, these Durham Lords here still holding on to this lead here in the second set.
Starting to see this game as a whole just break out into more of a little bit of a back and forth like we had expected. So we'll see if the tides are turning to become a little bit more of a 50-50 style of game.
But their Pham is going to be looking to find a quick one, and he does just that. As you touched upon earlier in this game, Lucas, I am a big fan, too, of those quick sets because most teams are anticipating the outside hitters coming in for those spikes.
Exactly.
So when you look up the middle like Harper did just there from Pham, you get quick and easy points.
Exactly. Anything you can do to continue to just change up the way you approach the offensive side of the ball will be a benefit towards your team. Great play there.
Ravin getting blocked, but Wright coming back with his own block with Lethbridge. But we're going to see the deflection go out of bounds there, actually. And another big point here for the Durham Lords, up 15-10. I don't know, can we call this a surprise anymore, Lucas?
I think with the way that Durham's been playing, I don't know necessarily if we could maybe call it a surprise at the beginning of the game, yeah. But if you watch just the way the team warmed up and everything, like look at the effort here. They're just playing like they really, really want it, and it's actually very fun to watch.
They're definitely showing up for the Falcons, but Lethbridge with a smart play, a nifty play there, fighting into that momentum, and now it's 15-11, and we're going to see Lethbridge set it up for serve on the Falcons side.
It definitely is surprising, but I think it wouldn't be nearly as surprising if we saw Fanshaw come back and kind of play the way we all expected them to. So just two great competitive teams.
But they're going to see Rogers digging it out for Pham now, going to try and find Polfus, who's just going to look for the open court, but a good recovery from Foreman to Lethbridge, but not the best set there for Ravin. And sometimes with those quick sets up the middle, though, if you don't get the right timing on your jump, you're going to look a little foolish, as we did there, because with the setups going to the outside hitters, it does allow a little bit more time to plan that jump, whereas as you saw up the middle there, timing is everything, and they didn't have it on the Falcon side with that one. But they're going to try again here, a little more successful, but Pham digging that out on the Durham Lords side, as Watson just going to force that over here. But here comes Lethbridge to Otter, and there you have Otten again, putting that one down, and Sam Otten playing the role of Nate Van Camp here in this second set, trying to keep it close here for these Falcons as we get Jackson setting up for serve.
16
on that
to 12
replay
now.
there. Sorry, Lucas, I was just going to say there was a massive kill attempt there on that replay.
Absolutely. We're seeing some great defense too by Pham. He's doing lots to set up his teammates again. Great deceptive little play, and it's going to turn into points. Yeah. 17-12 now for Durham. The race to 20 is on. The race to 25 is getting close. Durham is looking like they could potentially. Yes, I do think overall surprise. If Durham was to go up 2-0, that in itself would be a surprise.
Fanshaw has only dropped 2 sets once this year in a game. And like I said, being ranked #1, everyone I think is expecting them here to come out and show face, which they have been trying to find some momentum. But again, we have to give some good confidence here. These Durham Lords coming out looking like a team to beat here. And we're going to see the deflection go out of bounds there, though, and a big point now for Foreman. Fanshawe down just 4 here. Let's see if they can dig into this lead a little bit. And we're going to see a quick substitution, of course, as we'll see Harper step off quickly, and the libero is going to come back on Rogers. And we're going to see Ravin, though, setting up for serve here.
Taking his time, talking to the ball a little bit, doesn't want to mess it up.
And looks like the ball didn't give him the answer he wanted. Out of bounds on the back line there. And just like that, a little bit of momentum going to be taken away right away. We're going to get another substitution with John Pham coming off a little bit here. And 12, Eric Jansen coming on for the Lords. So you're going to have Polfus, Jansen, Wood, and you're also going to have on the back there Dubé, along with Watson up front there joining Jansen and Wood. But Polfus getting this one in here. Gundrum digging that out as he gets it to Lethbridge. Foreman mistimed it, but still able to get up there for a good one. And now Watson just going to try and put that back there for Dubé. He does get some good height on that third attempt there, but just like that, that's the power you want to see. Sam Otten, another big point here for the Fanshawe Falcons, who aren't going away here, trying to play like that #1 ranked team they are in this second set, picking themselves up a bit here, down 18-14.
Durham's had some great recovery defense on a lot of these balls that necessarily haven't hit where Fanshawe wants them, but Durham has done a great job to turn them into playable balls and make them into the balls that the offense can use towards trying to get some points. But there, Fanshawe just proved that the reason why they are #1, they're so good offensively.
Harrison Wood just floating there for as long as it takes, but a good dig out on the other side as we see another dig there from Dubé. But a good setup here. There's Watson going to get up, and I think he's going to get the deflection. No, it's actually going to be a clean play there, and with that, the Falcons are going to get the point, and they now have this lead down to just 3. But you're going to see now McAdams out there again, looking to maybe try and get his team a little amped up here. But Otten going to get a nice serve over there, getting a little lucky with the net, but there comes Jansen, and that one's going to go out of bounds, and now you're finding the momentum here that the Falcons were hoping for, getting a little more amped up, and they have a chance here down a couple of points to finally bring this second set back.
Turning it into now just an 18-16 lead for Durham. This is what we talked about, Fanshawe getting back in and giving Durham giving them any room to get back in. They'll do it surely.
Good dig on the back line from Rogers. Here comes Jansen. Somehow Jackson digs that one out as it's going to go to Wood. Actually, no, it's going to go to Jansen, but a nice one there from Lethbridge digging that out. Jansen's just going to force it over here as we see Auden get it to Lethbridge, over to Foreman, and I think we're going to see it go off the moorings up top there. Violation as we do, and now the Durham Lords up 19-16 here, getting the service game back. We're going to see a quick substitution as well. Number 11 going to step off here, Watson, and we're going to see Rory Langley come on here. Watson, Langley, a couple of second-year players out of Uxbridge.
Some nervous moments for the Fanshawe Falcons. The second set nearing to a close.
But here comes Lethbridge. He's going to be looking for O'Coin. O'Coin gave up on it, somehow got saved there from Otten. But here comes Lethbridge on the other side. Sorry, actually there comes a couple of Lethbridges actually there, confusing myself. But a big point as that one does get in here. And the Durham Lords first to 20, as Lucas said, for the second straight set here. And a big timeout here from Patrick Johnson on the Falcons side. And Lucas, I know I've kept saying it, you haven't bought into it yet, but this number 1 ranked team is looking at a 2-0 down game here. Something again that they haven't seen all year. How do you tell your team to come back from something that they haven't yet to experience?
I think it's just you got to get them back into what got them to where they are. Tell them, just reiterate the game plan. Let them know that you're behind them as a coach. I wouldn't necessarily harp on them too much. I would let them maybe know what I want changed, but I wouldn't put too much of the blame towards them and make them feel like this is necessarily getting away from them, because that's what it might feel like for this Fanshawe team. They don't know how to necessarily battle back from something like this because they haven't been in this situation, but as good as a team as they are, you would expect that they would not need to be told. They just know that they have to get back to their game plan, and we're talking like the second set's over. Necessarily, they're only down by 4 points, although Durham has played just an amazing game, and they just do seem to have a certain level of intensity to them in this one. I think Fanshaw's just got to get back to that game plan and take a deep breath and take this all in. I think they'll be okay, but they're playing, unfortunately, a team right now, Durham, that looks too motivated.
Well, the Durham Lords are going to have a chance here. This is their set to lose, in my opinion. But Foreman not going to die just yet here. A good point there, a nice spike down there for Andre Foreman. And Foreman found some good success yesterday, managing 9 points off 6 kills, and he was actually only with 7 total attempts with an 86% rate, an incredible rate yesterday. They're going to have to get him going here as Lethbridge saves that, gets it to Dubé, and that may work out though as the other Lethbridge going to get it to Jackson, who's going to have that one fall through his hands there, and that to me is the epitome of what we've seen here today from the Fanshawe Falcons. They look like they have an easy play, and they just haven't been able to finish it.
Those are the things to me that is pretty surprising, is the uncharacteristic, just little kerfuffles like that they just don't seem to normally have in other games that there's, for whatever reason, seem to have in this. Durham just maybe has their number right now.
There's Lethbridge going to be looking for Otten, and this time though, Otten going to get it down. A much better attempt there, and a good set there from Lethbridge, as we're going to see John Pham come back in here with Jansen stepping off, and we're going to check number 14 as well too. And so 14 is back on here, Braden Rogers, the libero. So we got Pham, Harper, Dubé, and we also got on the back line Polfus, as George Matsuzaka getting a bit of a warning there from the referee. OCAA West Division Coach of the Year, definitely coaching his team great here into a quick lead, and John Pham, goodness gracious, just like that, momentum back over to the Lords in my opinion. 22-18, a very smart play there, taking advantage of that open court and calling his own number on that one.
3 points away from putting the second set into their hands.
Lethbridge over, an easy one, but somehow a nice dig from Rogers. But Dubé getting that over, and we're going to see Pham set it up. Rogers going to be looking for Dubé again. Here he comes. Another good dig here as Foreman going to get it to Lethbridge. He's going to find Jackson. An easy one from Jackson, but a good dive from Pham. A nice rally back and forth here. And there's Gundrum digging it out himself to Lethbridge. And here comes another one from Otten, but Pham diving all over the court here. And Polfish just going to have to put this one over. And almost another one there for Pham. And he's going to actually point it out to number 13. Langley, you have to be thinking. Langley turned his back on that play, running to the back line. And just like that, what I thought was going to be a big point there for the Lords, we're now going to see Lethbridge setting up for serve here on the Falcon side.
Great defensive efforts, though, for the Durham Lords there.
But there you have it, right back. The Lords coming together again here. Andrew Dubé, as I mentioned, he is my X factor, and he is my player of the game here so far, just due to the fact that he hasn't played all year, only 9 matches starting in January, but looking like a true veteran out there on the court.
This kind of goes to show that the focus Durham had coming into this game for a player to step in and make an impact like that. You normally won't see that, especially against the team that they're playing in today. The focus and motivation for this Durham team is absolutely amazing. 1 point away now from match point.
24-19 here. These Durham Lords are about to stun this gym with Dubé coming up here. 24-19 set point. Jackson going to step off as we're going to see Nate Van Camp come on here for the first time again. Well, second time, sorry, as he's been off for a while there after that first set. But just a heads up, everyone, we're going to be throwing to Ryla here after this set ends, potentially on this next play here. And just like that, my goodness, Andrew Dubé with a huge service ace. 25-19, these Durham Lords here with a stranglehold up 2-0 on the #1 nationally ranked Fanshawe Falcons. Holy moly, Lucas, are you surprised yet finally?
Yes, okay. I am surprised now for this, because I told you at the beginning of it, I would be surprised if they went up 2-0, and this is absolutely something that has caught me off guard. And this has just been crazy. And now we're going to take a look into the success that Durham has had.
Yeah, we're going to check some highlights here before we throw it over to Ryla. And right there, number 17, Wood. And you're also going to see number 6, Pham, get it to Watson, but a good block there on the other side here. In my opinion, most of that set was all Wood, as you'll see right there, taking that from Pham. And then now Jansen saving that one, as you'll see here. And off his flat foot, Harrison Wood showcasing why he's one of the best players here on the court and why he's a first-team All-Star. And a quick one there for Pham as well. But we're going to throw it over to Ryla here for some insights. Ryla, what do you got for us?
Yeah, guys, so my mic works now, so let me tell you what I was going to say. So before the game, I spoke with both of the coaches, Patrick Johnson from Fanshaw and George Matsuzaki from Durham, and they say, you know, going into this game today, they feel like it's an even match. But as we're seeing today, George was saying, you know, the first thing they have to do is pick up a fast start. on Durham, and they clearly have. They said they're up for the challenge that Fanshawe has to offer. So, I mean, you guys are talking about being surprised here. But for them, I think they were ready coming into this game based off of the games last night, that they're so good to go, and we're going to just have to see if they can pick up the win tonight or not.
Well, thank you very much for those insights, Ryla. We appreciate that. And I'm going to be the only one here, I guess, that's going to be very surprised when a #1 nationally ranked team, the defending gold champions, are here down 2-0 in the D-Bark to the Durham Lords out of the East Division. Even though they are very well coached with George Matsuzaki, I still think my brain's going to explode if these Durham Lords can take these Falcons down here in this next set.
Okay, so my brain also will be on the verge of exploding if they do get swept in 3 sets. I've said from the beginning of the game that I'm not overall surprised that Durham is in this game, but I would be very surprised if Fanshaw was to get swept in the 3 sets. But as you can see here, the look on some of these players' faces, they are starting to look a little bit nervous here, maybe because they haven't been in this situation before. But you know what? Their coaches have been preparing them for situations like this. Fortunately for them, they haven't been in one like this. They're just going to have to find the way to dig deep and battle out of it, and I'm sure they will, because it would be very uncharacteristic if the Fanshawe Falcons were to be swept in this round. So anything can happen. We've kind of learned that throughout this tournament, and we're going to see what is about to transpire as we get set to take on the 3rd set of this one.
Yeah, the Falcons on a 14-game winning streak after the win last night, but as I mentioned early on, they have yet to find themselves down 2 sets here in this 2016-2017 OCAA regular season and now into these playoffs, and they are in tough here against these Durham Lords. It is do or die unless they want to find themselves going for the wrong colored medal tomorrow.
And you know what, I kind of think they know that, and they realize that the circumstances are getting a little bit tight for them, and the dreams of the gold medal are all determined on these next 3 possible upcoming 3 sets. They're going to need to continue to try and get their game going a little bit, and Durham's just got to continue to do what they've been doing. Let's see how this transpires.
And that's a good start there as Gundram dug that out on the serve from Fram, and Lethbridge set it up for Ravin. Nice and beautifully there. But just as we saw Fanshawe with a quick start in the last set, let's see if they can actually build some real momentum here in this 3rd set, though, with Jackson setting up for serve.
Even the coach is just letting the Fanshawe Falcons know, just 1 at a time, boys, 1 at a time. Don't try and win it all in one play. Here we go, Fanshawe up 2-0.
A violation there. And the one thing that we have to mention as well, too, for our viewers from the Fanshawe Falcons side, even though they may be surprised on the court here today, they already have booked their ticket to the CCAAs as the host city and the host school. So maybe that could be playing a bit of a factor here today, but I know if you're a winner, you want to win regardless of the situation.
Absolutely. So. There's no crossing their mind that they are already in. They're in a game right now. They have a lot to play for. Every team looks at them to be the top dog, and when you are in that position, you want to do nothing more than continue to represent that and leave no doubt in your opponent's mind that you are the best. Great play here by Durham.
And going to see Roger just get that over as Jackson going to get it to Lethbridge, and here comes Auden, who's been on fire, but not going to get that one down. He's going to run into the wall of Watson. There's Watson and Harper again, making a formidable wall. As I mentioned earlier here, these Durham Lords looking again like this is a real thing. They're definitely not going to be surprised here. As Ryla mentioned, I think they came in completely prepared for the exact team they're facing. And if anything, these Falcons are surprised on the other side here as Lethbridge going to get it over to Foreman again. Take 2, but Harper and Polfa said, let's see if you can take 3 the other side. And we're going to see, I think, a violation, though, on the Lords, as that was a good rally back and forth, but the point will go to the Falcons with the coin coming on here. And we're going to see Gundram, the libero, step off quickly here with Ravin setting up for serve on the Falcons side.
Every point is becoming so crucial in this game now here entering the 3rd set. We almost have 5 points here for the Fanshawe Falcons. Fanshawe knows that getting down is something that they haven't been too familiar with, so look for them to be really aggressive here on the offensive side of the ball and just continue to try and smash it down Durham's throat and probably try to attack more in the middle, as Fam's just been able to dive all over the court and take away the outsides, maybe try and keep the ball away from him when hitting it over.
Well, the big thing today actually has been errors as well, too. And we're going to see another one there. Did they get the deflection? Nope, going to be a clean one there for the Fanshawe Falcons. Playing some errorless ball here so far in this 3rd set, which they'll need to do. Yesterday they actually only had 9 errors in total across the whole match, which they actually matched in those first couple of sets. And again, a big reason why now these Durham Lords have been able to put the stranglehold on these Falcons. And there comes Watson with a big one up front, but we're gonna see that land down there on the Durham Lords side. And this is the excitement you want to see if you're Patrick Johnston from your Fanshaw Falcons team here, with Ravin setting up for serve, and a 5-2 lead now here on the Falcon side in this third set.
You talked about how they already have their ticket booked to the national championships, and does that kind of take away from what this means to the team? But you're seeing by their celebrations overall that they do want this really bad, and this isn't a game that they're looking over. You can see it on the faces of the players, and not only the players, the coaches themselves as well. Yeah. Very animated so far throughout this one.
Definitely have to say, holy moly on that last one there from Harper.
Yeah, that was aggressive.
Put it straight down into the net. No chance there for number 9, Otten, on the Falcons side. And now we're going to see Harper look to set up for service. Johnston trying to find some sway with the referees here on the Falcons side here, the head coach. And maybe, if anything, freezing Harper a little bit there, working in the favor for the Falcons, as Harper put that one long by a few feet. And now we're going to see it back over here to the Falcons, doubling up the Durham Lords here early on in this third set, 6-3. So there comes Otten, a nice jump serve there, but Pham going to look to set it up to Harrison Wood, bouncing that off the head of a coin. And Harrison Wood again showing why he is the first team All-Star. I have to point out the referees making the motion for a deflection as they make the motion to their fingertips, but they got to come up with one for a bounce off the head there.
Well, the velocity that the ball's being hit with in this game, they might as well.
Holfus gets that serve over, but Foreman going to try and put it back, but another big block up front. John Pham and Harrison Wood coming together there. Whew. And just like that, these Durham Lords here could find themselves in a tie again. They were down 6-3, couple of quick points here, now down only 6-5.
Their defense is starting to take over. Their offense has been great, but they're finally starting to take away the top of that net. I shouldn't say finally, they're just starting to make it a little bit more of a prevalent thing, and there you have it right there.
Another block attempt, but a good dig. Here comes Pham, and you know Watson wants it, but a good block there from Lethbridge and a coin. But Pham's going to get another chance here, and there comes Dubé flying, but somehow we get a couple of beautiful digs, and there's a nifty play, but Foreman going to pick up his teammates. And then here comes Otten on the other side, but another good dig from Polfus. Now here comes Pham to Watson again, but even Gundrum digging that one out. And Foreman going to put that one down. No, we're going to get another rally here going back and forth. This is exciting volleyball here with Otten getting that one down almost through Wood, but Wood falling, able to get that still. And here comes Watson. Gundrum with another one there, and it's going to just land out of bounds. Almost there, Foreman getting that one. Holy moly, that's one of the best plays I have seen all OCAAs, Lucas.
The crowd's into it, the players are into it. That's exactly why we're here, to celebrate the best players and teams that the Ontario College Basketball Association has to offer. And we are being treated to an amazing game like we talked about, and sequences like that are why we're all tuned in. Such an amazing game so far. You don't get to see that too often.
That is the epitome of the OCAA championships in one play right there. But just like that, though, momentum gone for those Lords off the Polfus serve. And now we're going to see it go back over to Foreman here, resetting for his second attempts here in service game for the Falcons. And Foreman found a little bit of success his first couple of times through. Going to put the lob up there. Now Pham going to find Harrison Wood, and those quick volleys up front and middle right there. Pham Wood connection coming through again. And Watson going to be setting up for serve on the other side here now. This third set, exciting play back and forth here with Watson going to get this serve over. We have a 7-all tie. Foreman getting it to Lethbridge. There's a coin with his own little quick volley up the middle, putting that spike down. And just like that, these teams are now trading barbs back and forth here, point for point.
Yeah, we're going to see the race for 20 become, as we've been talking about all day, about how it's pretty important. Even though 25 wins the game, it seems like we're finally going to have that back and forth set, so that race to 20 just becomes all the more important here.
There's a coin to Polfus, and Polfus just a little too much on that one, and going to be just out of bounds. They were looking for the deflection there, not going to get it, and now a coin setting up for serve here for the Falcons, up 9-7. second-team All-Star, gets it over there. And now Polf is going to be looking to set it up for Dubé. And Dubé running his face into the pole there. Ouch, that's definitely got to hurt there. I know I felt that one over here. And the double hurt on that one. He wasn't even able to get the ball over the net either. And we're going to see the first time out here now on the Durham Lords side in this third set with these Fanshawe Falcons pushing this lead now to 10-7.
Yeah, Fanshaw's coach is probably going to just try to keep the energy high. The team hasn't looked too down. They're just continuing to play their game and hopefully trying to get back into it. Now 10-7 for them, their first lead of the game. I'm pretty sure 3 points would be the biggest lead that they've had all game. So we're going to see if Fanshawe can continue to play the style of ball that we expected them to. And as it goes for Durham, they're just going to want to continue to keep the energy high that they have. They're only down by 3. The defense has broke down a little bit, so it's just maybe this timeout will help both teams. And either way, Nick, I don't really care. Either way this goes, we've been treated to such a good game in this one, and this has just been a real representation of how high of a level this volleyball truly is and the skill that it takes to play.
Well, you know, the Durham Lords, though, they haven't actually medaled either since 2005-2006 season where they snagged the silver at the OCAA championships. So you know if they can win this one here, they'll be guaranteeing themselves either a gold or a silver, and that could be one of the biggest motivating factors here, I think, because these Durham Lords are playing on a whole other level here.
Absolutely, and then on the vice versa of that, the Falcons being the team that won it last year, they want nothing more to defend that championship, but it's one of the hardest things to do in all sports is to repeat.
Good one from Pham, and somehow Dubé just going to sneak that past the mooring, but here comes Lethbridge to Jackson. Jackson been quiet today so far, and Harrison Wood just going to sneak that one over, but Lethbridge now on the other side to Otten, and going to be just out of bounds here. And now the Durham Lords going to dive into this lead a little bit, now 10-8, and we're going to see number 14, I believe, set up for serve. Actually, he's going to come out, of course, the libero, and we're going to see the Durham Lords here set it up for serve on the back line, and it's going to be Wood, number 17 here, having a great game so far here for these Lords. Harrison Wood, not a big serve usually. He likes to just make sure he gets it in play. And honestly, Lucas, we've covered it a couple of times in the past here. It sometimes is a little bit better just to get the ball in play instead of going for those big jump serves where you may be killing your own momentum and losing your points.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Easily.
And it's like that's what most teams are always going for. So if you can change it up and keep teams honest, that's the best style of offense you can play. Keep everything on the table and make the defense expect everything.
But here we have Gundrum going to have to put that one up. Here comes Jackson. Jackson going to try and find the angle, and he does somehow, but a good save there from Dubé as Harper just puts that one over. But here comes Lethbridge to Jackson, running into the wall of Harper, and Harper up front today for the Lords has been playing big, to say the least.
Keeping his composure, not celebrating too much. They're realizing that if they can get this set, they're going to walk out of here. It's all focus from Durham. You're not seeing as much celebration as you did from them at the beginning of the game, because now they're realizing that, holy crap, we're here. And you see Fanshaw getting it back together.
Lethbridge with a smart play there. He's definitely going to have to call his number a little bit more often here, as the blockers on the Lord's side have definitely figured out James Jackson, and they've figured out Big Sam Otten and Nate Van Camp. But now we're going to see Lethbridge gets this serve over here. The Falcons up 11-9. But here comes Pham to Harper up front. A good dig out, and somehow Ravin going to get it to Foreman over here. But you know Pham setting up. Here's Dubé. And will it drop? And it does. Dubé just getting it past Otten and Ravin there. And neither Foreman or Gundrum able to dig that out there for the Falcons. And now the Durham Lords going to have another chance here to tie it up in this third set. And John Pham definitely showcasing why we did an entire profile of him at the start here. A big reason these Lords have been sticking in tough, and another big reason why this team hasn't been doing very well, those Falcons. But we may see it flip around here. There's still time for Jackson to flip that script and get himself going.
We talk about Pham and we look at his offensive assists, but it all starts off of his defense and just how well he's able to read the floor, kind of see what the players' tendencies are, and he's just always in the right position, and his assists come from his smarts.
Yeah, he leads the way with 120 digs on the regular season, but holy moly, a high-flying Jackson there, but somehow on the back line, these Lords have been incredible with their dig-outs, and I think we're going to see a violation there, but no, actually, it's going to be a clean play on Otten, and with that now, Fanshaw ringing off a couple of straight points here now, up 13-10 with Jackson setting up for serve.
trying to get some separation for the first time, matching their highest margin of lead at 3 points. They're not used to this.
Not today, anyways, it seems. And just like that, though, Jackson, usually the reason his team's winning, today, a big reason why his team is losing. But still, again, we have lots of time here. But these Durham Lords, in my opinion, have a chance here to build some momentum, down just a couple in this third set. They can return to the play they had in this first couple. And on the other side, though, these Falcons, they want to build some momentum here themselves. Little one-on-one play up at the net. Harper going to come away there. But now Otten just going to have to force that one over. So we get Rogers looking to Pham. Pham finding Polfus. But holy moly, did Lethbridge get his leg on that one, I think.
Could have just been a fingertip, if anything.
And now back on the other side, we're going to get a big point for the Falcons here. Lethbridge and Gundram trying to get their team fired up. Some good defensive play leading to that out-of-bounds attempt there on the Lord's side. And now 14-11 again, bringing that lead back up to 3 here as Ravin sets up for serve.
Durham's doing everything they can to try and cut this, but now Fanshaw starting to show how well they are protecting leads.
Falcons do get the serve over there, and Ravin going to find himself with an easy service ace on that one. Watson with a bit of a misplay there. And now 15-11 in the Durham Lords. Coach Matsuzaki going to take another timeout here, try to stop this momentum and stop this bleeding a little bit. Because I think if the Falcons can take this set, we could have a whole new ball game here, because these Durham Lords are definitely a team that came out strong and fast. But will they be able to maintain that momentum, though, if they lose this set here to the Falcons? Now down 15-11 here, Lucas.
I wouldn't see any reason why they couldn't, but I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Fanshaw pull off 2 straight set wins. I don't know if it's so much as something that Durham would do to themselves, or as we've been talking about, and especially how you've been talking about how good Fanshaw is. I think overall Fanshaw's skill and the team that they are may just start to creep in a bit, and this is the wrong team to give room to get back in a game. If Durham obviously really wanted to put it away in this set, and they still can, it's just going to take a little bit more work than they have had to do throughout this game. But you know what? They may be expected, unfortunately, maybe not, knowing who they're playing, they may be expected that they'd be playing down at some point, so they've been mentally prepared to have an uphill climb, and now they've got to the game and they're ahead. Playing with the lead might be something of a surprise, so I don't know if too much changes for them to try and finish this off. I think they just got to keep playing Durham Lords volleyball.
Well, now we're going to get the serve over here. A much better return on the Lord's side. And Polfus going to double up that and make it a very good big kill there. Now 15-12 for the Durham Lords. And just like that, we're going to get it set up for Harper on the other side. But these Fanshawe Falcons, you can tell, finding a bit of life here and some energy. Up 15-12 in this third set. Harper getting the serve over, Gundram finding it. Lethbridge going to look up to set Otten. Otten going to get it dug out there from Pham on the other side. And here comes Watson on his back foot. But Lethbridge going to be looking for Foreman. But a nice dig from Pham there, and it's going to force Dubé just to hit it. And Wood's just going to have to put that one over. And Gundram going to get an easy volley here to Lethbridge. And there comes Jackson. But Jackson's going to be out of bounds there, it looks like. But no, just in it seems. The deflection there actually. I didn't see it myself there, but a big one for the Falcons, now up 16-12 with Otten setting up for serve. These Fanshawe Falcons stretching this lead now to 4.
Hey, Levin's tired.
With Otten getting that up. You can hear the coach calling out a tired player there on the Lord's side. Let's see if it means anything moving forward here as we get Foreman just going to push this one over, and now Polf is going to find Pham. Pham going to set it up to the high-flying Dubé, and Dubé literally put that one through Andre Foreman. Foreman diving back on that one, thinking his team might have had a chance, but that ball had already hit the ground 3 times. Andrew Dubé, sorry, I was just going to say, high flying from that back line there.
Oh, absolutely. It just seems Durham can't snap this little 3-point margin. They just, every time they get close, it seems Fanshaw pulls away, and the 3-point margin seems to be something, at least in this set, that Durham just can't seem to overcome.
Yeah, they usually have been on the other side in the first couple of sets with those little small 2, 3, 4-point leads that they've been able to maintain, but now let's see if they can come back a bit. But on the other side, if you're David Acoin, you're saying, come back what? How about let's start playing like the #1 ranked team we are, and a big point there, 17-13, and the Falcons doing just that here in this third set as we're getting crunch time. And as Lucas likes to say, who's going to be the first to 20 here? It's looking like it's going to be the Falcons. But now we get Foreman hitting it over here. And there's a dig out from Rogers, but Lethbridge going to save him there on the backside. Gundrum going to dig it out here to Lethbridge for the Falcons. Here comes Jackson with a big block there, and Foreman not able to get that. Harrison Wood and Andrew Watson, a couple of big boys making a big wall there. Surprising, I think, Andre Foreman on the back line there, and even Coach Johnson kind of asking him, where were you on that one? You have to make sure you're a little bit more prepared there, especially when you've seen how big of blocks that these Durham Lords can come up with. I know I mentioned height was going to be an issue potentially for these Durham Lords, but they seem to not have an issue at all here up the middle against these Falcons.
No, you know, and it's not like themselves, they are the shortest team ever. They just have a lot of great athletic ability on that side. And there's the smarts of that Fanshaw team taking advantage of a little gap that they saw and attacking it with purpose.
Lethbridge again looking for a zone number there. Finding a nice play as this lead now stretched up again, 18-14 with a coin getting the serve over here. And Lethbridge going to be forced to try and put that one up, but Wood does get it over, but here comes the other Lethbridge to Otten, and Otten off the head, choking me up here with that big play. Hitting that one off the head of Dubé, out of bounds there, and now we have the Falcons up 5, 19-14 late in this third set. But Coin gets that serve over, going to be dug out there. And here comes now Jansen, and big number 12, Eric Jansen, been quiet today so far, but a nice one there. And maybe it's time for Jansen to come out and play. But the one thing that's highlight on these Durham Lords side is the consistency across the board. We touched upon it yesterday. 5 players with 125 points or more on the year. But there's Jackson with a nice kill, and somehow that will land down, I think surprising actually. Langley on the back line there. And Jackson usually whipping out the big guns on that one. A bit of finesse working there now with this 5-point lead here for the Falcons, still at 20-15. Lethbridge with a nice serve up and over here. Dubé going to get that to the other Lethbridge. Here comes Dubé, just going to push that over, and it's going to work as he forced it right through the arms there of Otten and Ravin. These Durham Lords aren't done just yet here in this third set. 20-16 though for the Falcons, as we're going to get a quick substitution. We'll see John Pham come back on here with Polfus, and we're going to see Lethbridge come off here with Jansen on the Lord's side. To round it out, you're going to see Pham, Langley, and number 14 Rogers with Wood and Polfus and Harper up front, as we get a little bit of a stoppage in play to clean up some blood, sweat, and tears here on this court. These teams are giving it all here. And on the other side, you're going to now see Lethbridge joining Jackson, Ravin. You're going to have Andre Foreman, Sam Otten, and Gundrum on the back line, the libero for the Falcons.
This is a big possession here for Durham. They got to try and get that lead back to 3. See if they can get some offense off of this.
And there you have it though, coming right back now here. Even though the coaches on the Falcon side don't like that, I think they thought they might have seen a bit of a lift there. But the Durham Lords will take anything here, down 20-17 in this third set. John Pham going to get this serve over here. Gundrum, Lethbridge, and there's a big one there for Ravin up front. And up the middle here, Lethbridge finding some adjustments. Instead of putting it outside to the outside hitters, understanding that up the middle could be where the Lord's weakness is. And now 21-17 as one of the Fanshawe Falcons coaches screaming, no right side here as Johnson gets this serve over. Jackson, and with that one going out of bounds here, the Durham Lords now trading points back and forth here, down 21-18. Langley stepping off here, and we're going to see big boy Andrew Watson come back on. And you know they want Watson and Harper up front here, especially with Otten and Lethbridge, especially with James Jackson on that back line too. But here you have Lethbridge going to be looking for Otten. And as mentioned there, a big one. Watson not able to corral that though and keep it in bounds. And now the Fanshawe Falcons up 4, 22-18. Gundrum stepping off here, and just as you saw on the other side, of course the Falcons coach here wanted to get the taller point up front here. And you'll see a quick little substitution as Gundrum going to find a little break.
Seems like Durham hasn't been able to get their offense going the first 2 sets that they've had. Like the spikes here, they've been able to get way better spikes.
And there you have it, though. These Durham Lords again sticking in tough here in this third set. 22-19 as we're going to get number 9 Harper setting up for serve here. These Lords, I think, can taste the upset even though they're down a couple of points here in this third set. Let's see if they can continue their strong play. And Jackson going to try and fool the defense. Not going to work, though. Here comes Pham to Wood. And is it going to work? No, actually. A couple of quick little hits there from Otten and a coin. But this time, Harrison Wood says, I'm just going to look for the open court. And now we have a 22-20 game here. Durham Lords down just a couple.
He paints the line there with an absolutely perfectly placed hit. Durham's going to need a couple more plays like that if they hope to finish it off in this set as they're down 22-20. The upset is within reach, but Fanshaw is doing everything in their power to stop it.
But here you're going to see Lethbridge over to Foreman, and a good dig from Harper, and now going to get saved there from Wood back to Dubé. But Jackson on the other side going to find Lethbridge over to a quick coin, but Pham able to dig it out, and an even better attempt there as well from Wood. Everyone diving all over the place here. And another one, is Pham going to get it? Are they going to get it over? And is it going to land in? Almost, holy moly, what a rally we have here. And just like that, though, we're going to get the point to the Durham Lords here. The Fanshawe Falcons thought they had it, and this gymnasium is quite raucous here, with these Durham Lords now down just one, 22-21 here. And Harper knows the pressure is on here, and we're going to get a timeout potentially. Maybe Johnston knows just how much this pressure is on here on the Falcon side. And as you see, a lot of excitement coming from these Durham Lords here into their huddle. You get a little House of Pain here in the background. Truly, we're getting some jumping around here tonight, Lucas, in this matchup.
Yeah, this game has been everything that we thought it would be. Outside of the fact that the outcome could go the opposite way most of us thought it would, we knew we were going to have a hotly contested game with lots of great athletic plays. We've seen some of the best rallies we've seen in this tournament, maybe all around in the college volleyball scene this year. It's been an absolutely amazing game, and this set is going to end just the way we wanted it to. It looked like Fanshawe was going to pull away a bit, but Durham is showing that they are able to just battle back and not give up, and we are in for a treat here as Fanshawe leads 22-21 here in the third set, up 2-0 for Durham. They have a chance to put it away, but it's easier said than done here. A 3-0 upset would be the most surprising thing so far of this whole tournament, if not the most surprising storyline of the overall tournament. Unless me or you were to go onto court and win championships ourselves.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be happening, but I'm glad you've finally understood how important this game is here, especially, like you said, from the surprising factor here for the Lords. But we're not done just yet here. Some exciting plays. We get Sam Otten flying in the air, and I think we're going to see the violation there on the Durham Lords side. And now the Fanshawe Falcons just 2 points away here from jumping right back into this game. And now we're going to see Sam Otten setting it up here. And as Otten gets the serve up and over, a nice jump serve there as Rogers digs it out to Pham. But right there, Harrison Wood. If only Pham could find Wood every single time, we would have, I think, a 25-0 set win here for these Durham Lords, because Harrison Wood up the middle is almost unstoppable. And if I'm the Durham Lords here, I'm very excited to have Harrison Wood and Andrew Dubé, a couple of young players here.
Just playing amazing ball so far today, especially in this game.
A nice little tip there, does manage to get back over one-on-one, and somehow Lethbridge, a little stare down on Harrison Wood there as well too. And
Durham's
what we're
gonna
going to see is we're going to see a massive turn of events here.
23.
Holy moly, Lethbridge very surprised there. I'm a little surprised on that violation call as well, and now we have a 23 tie, as you mentioned, Lucas. Brett Polfus setting up for serve here. Holy moly, this is coming down to the wire here. Polfus, is he going to soar it? And he does at the wrong time here. The unforced error with that loss of serve. Now the point over to the Fanshawe Falcons, and we're going to see a set point opportunity here for Andre Foreman on serve.
The pressure is on for both teams.
You definitely can feel the pressure, as you mentioned, clamping down here, and the tenseness coming from both sides as well. But there you're going to see Wood coming through in the clutch. And now it's not going to be first to 25 here in Lucas. It's going to be the first to win by 2 in this third set.
We wouldn't have it any other way. This game's been an absolute treat. I wouldn't be surprised if the score gets into the 30s. I'm sure both teams don't want this to happen, but with how close this one's been and back and forth.
And this time Polfus saw the left bridge move coming, and here comes Dubé. Oh, and Dubé's going to put that down, and now you're going to see set and match point coming up here for the Durham Lords. I'm sorry if I'm peaking my levels here for the audio guy. I'm that excited in the gym here. Holy moly, these Durham Lords here have a chance coming up. And a smart timeout here from Patrick Johnson on the Fanshawe Falcons side, potentially looking to freeze out the Durham Lords serve coming up here. But holy moly, Lucas, my heart is pounding here.
Yeah, this could be it. You kept trying to get me to say that. Am I surprised? Am I surprised? Yes, now, Nick, I am quite surprised. If Durham is able to pull off the first 3 set sweep of the day that we have seen, yes, that will be by far the most surprising thing of this overall tournament. Fanshawe being the #1 ranked team, we're not trying to take away anything from how good Durham has been this season. We just cannot believe that the Fanshawe Falcons, who have been so consistent all year in their play, are at this point now where they're actually a point away, 1 mistake away from giving up this game and the possibility in an OCAA championship. To make the blow a little bit easier, yes, they have a chance at nationals, but no one on this team wants to lose the game. As you can see the look on the Fanshawe Falcons players' faces, this means everything to them. You play your whole season to win these games. There's no game you go into trying to lose, and there is an opportunity in front of them right now where they may actually suffer their 11th overall loss of the year and the first loss of the year, where they would have been swept 3-0, and there is a chance. The onlookers, the crowd is up, the intensity's high. Here we go.
And here's the serve, and just like that, how anticlimactic can you get? Watson putting that right into the net, and we're not done yet here. The Falcons going to have a chance now to bring it back on the other side, tied 25 all here, with the coin setting it up for serve. We bigged them up there, and they fell short on us, Lucas.
Gave us the exact opposite.
But again, these Durham Lords, though, not done just yet, of course, here. We are tied 25 with the coin serve coming in. Here's Pham looking for Harrison Wood, and oh my goodness, that was the filthiest thing I may have seen all day. And you can tell Harrison Wood found another rung in the ladder on that one. Oh.
Yeah, he got up on the ladder there, brought the hammer down, put that right in the middle of the floor, and might have just smashed away Fanshawe's dreams of possibly winning this title. That play signifies the type of game that Durham has had.
Another set point, and oh my goodness, you're going to see it right here, the Durham Lords storming the court as they upset the #1 ranked Fanshawe Falcons here at the D-Bar, and now they've launched themselves into the gold medal match tomorrow. 5 p.m. You're going to want to catch that here on M-Link. You've just witnessed the biggest upset of the year in the OCAAs. The #1 ranked Falcons falling here to the #9 ranked Durham Lords. Holy moly, Lucas. There was so many big things here that we could pinpoint, but I'm going to call out number 17, Harrison Wood. He's my player of the week here so far.
Yeah, you know what? I could call out one player, but I could call out this overall team effort, an amazing effort by Durham. Fanshawe is a little bit beside themselves. Their coaches had not had to give a shout out like this. This has just been something that the team has not had to deal with. What a game we were just treated to. An absolute shocker. Everyone in the stands was shocked. We're shocked. I don't know what to say. What a volleyball game.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go home, and I'm going to have to take a pill for my heart here after this one. Holy moly, that was a big one as we check some of these highlights here.
Nick will give you a break. Here's Durham just making the plays that got them the win that they had today. Look at the great defensive plays, the great offensive setups, the smashing down and finding that open lane on the floor that they were able to find all day. The sets were perfect, as you can see, right in the perfect hit for the hand, just being able to push it down. Fanshawe hasn't seen anything like this all year, or they would have won this game. What an amazing effort by Durham. Player of the game.
Going to number 9 here, Michael Harper. I'm still going to give my player of the game here to number 17, Harrison Wood. But Harper having himself a big game up front here, some big blocks, and as we touched upon, really making the Falcons have to adjust their game because they're one of these high-flying teams here, very similar to the Mountaineers, but not able to get into the flow there with their outside hitters, Jackson, Van Camp, and Otten running into big walls there. Number 11, Watson, number 9, Harper. But on the other side here, we're going to see Evan Ravin get the player of the game now for the Falcons. Looking a little down here, which is more than fair, as obviously you want to come up the winner. And again, now we're going to have a new gold medal champion here at the OCAAs with the Falcons falling here again to the Durham Lords. Whew, that was definitely an exciting one here, Lucas.
Yeah, there's no words to really describe what we witnessed in this one. An absolutely amazing game, a real stunner, but it just goes to show you that if you don't bring your full efforts and you overlook your opponents, that anything really can happen.
Yeah, man, as we mentioned, though, we're going to have the next matchup coming up to you, the Mohawk Mountaineers. So this gym's going to be even more packed coming up at this 8 p.m. start. So for those viewers on MLink, you're going to have to make sure to keep tuning in, because we're going to now bring you the undefeated Georgian Grizzlies coming at you versus the high-flying home team Mountaineers. And you know the Mountaineers are definitely licking their chops after watching the Durham Lords take down the Fanshaw Falcons here. And you know the Falcons, again, being the #1 ranked team, is definitely a surprise as they're off the court here for now. And as we mentioned, though, the Mohawk Mountaineers going to have a chance coming up in a little bit here to launch themselves against the Durham Lords in the gold medal match tomorrow. But they're going to be in tough against the undefeated Grizzlies as well. And again, I have to just pinpoint the incredible play of Andrew Harrison on the side of number 17 for the Durham Lords here.
Yep.
If he can showcase that same play tomorrow, we could be seeing the Durham Lords take their first gold medal since 1996. But we're going to throw it over to Ryla here. What do you got for us, Ryla?
Hey, I'm here joined by John Pham. Congratulations, that was a great win. How do you feel about that game?
It was exciting. Our team really pushed together to really fight through that third set and take that set. I don't know, I'm out of words. I have no words to describe that feeling, but it feels really good. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel going into tomorrow's game, not knowing who you guys are going up against?
It's exciting, but like today, we just got to play like how we did today, and hopefully it'll come out like a win, like just like what we just did, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
And there you see number 6, John Pham. Thank you very much, Ryla. And now we're going to be signing off here. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning into MLink as we just witnessed the upset from the Durham Lords taking down these high-flying Fanshawe Falcons. But stay tuned, coming at 8 p.m., we're going to have the Mountaineers facing off against the Georgian Grizzlies. Undefeated, should be exciting. I'm Nick Sahami. We'll see you guys at 8 p.m.